This is a revamp of a previous project that I was working on. It's a simple calendar. I'm calling it February Template 2018. I've got a save button and a remove button. In this table, we have a number of text areas, and if you go down to your computer down here at the bottom and click the calendar, I basically used this to determine how to make my table, because I don't have all this junk memorized and I don't have a calendar in front of me, so this works just great. And when I create a March, I'll do the same thing. I just emulate the calendar built into the computer. But anyway, let's deal with February right now. These text areas, obviously these days belong to January. And this is for February. I don't care about January, so I disabled these. So you can click in them all you want. You can't type in them. Only when you get to the 1st of February can you type stuff in here. And same thing with these text areas. They're disabled, so you can't type in them and you can't do anything to them. Now, just to show you that every single one of my text areas work, I'm going to type in some random junk, just a bunch of nothingness, just to show you that my button will save something in every single text area other than the disabled ones. So we're going to click Save, and the Save button is going to momentarily turn into a button that has a lime green background, and the text on it is going to go from saved to saved, and after 2 seconds it's going to revert back to how the button looks right now, and all of these text areas will save everything that I've typed in there, and in addition it will save a class that has a background color of lime. So let's show you how that works. See that? And my remove button works as well. I click the remove button, and for a moment the remove button will turn lime green, and then all of this will turn white again, and everything that I've typed will also disappear. Oh, but before that we have a confirm dialog that pops up that wants to make sure that you really are doing something that you want to do. So the confirm dialog gives you 2 choices. Okay, to confirm that yes, you want to do whatever it is that you've typed in here in the box, or cancel if you changed your mind and you don't want to do it. So let's hit cancel so that you can see how both of these options work. When we click cancel, we actually get an alert prompt. With the alert pop-up, you only get one choice, just the OK button to make the prompt go away. Gives you a message, okay, nothing is deleted, click OK, and nothing happens. Let's try it again. Remove. Again, here's our confirm dialog, and it gives you 2 choices. Let's try the OK choice this time. This will delete the entire grid. Do you really want to delete everything? This is the message that we want to populate. You choose what the confirm dialog will populate for the user. So let's click OK. Now we have again an alert dialog or alert pop-up that simply says all deleted, and it hasn't deleted yet, but it will as soon as we get rid of this. We click OK, and also notice, see how the button up here, the remove button, did turn lime green and the text changed from remove to removed. So let's click OK. Watch not only the text areas, but watch the button, the remove button up here. See, this reverted back to its original, and everything is brand new for February again. All right, that's part of how this works. Another thing we can do inside the code is we can populate what some of these text areas say by using an attribute called a placeholder for the text area, and I will show you that really quick in my febtemplate.html. As you can see, if I go up to the top, we've got our HTML, our head, we've got various links here. There's the link for the image that the little smiley face. Here's the title that shows up on the browser tab. This link points to the external style sheet. This link points to the external JavaScript. There's the closing of the head. The body, the onload calls a function called loadMyStuff, which is in our febtemplate.js external JavaScript file. We'll go over that shortly too. We have an opening table tag, and we have a variety of table rows. So for the first table row, we have a table header that has an ID of month and a call span of 7. After that, we've got an image. We've got an ID set to left, a source set to smile.ico, alt equals smiley in case something happens to the actual image, title equals smiley, which means if we hover over the image, the word smiley will pop up, and we set it to a height of 22 so that we can force it to the height we want it to be. Then we just have in between all that the text February template 2018. After that, we have a couple of buttons. Here's a button, input type equals button, ID equals save, button value equals save, and on click is set to save my stuff. So when we click on this save button, it's going to call the save my stuff function. That's another function we're going to go over in this febtemplate.js JavaScript file. All right, the next button, input type equals button, ID equals remove button, value equals remove. Value is what you see on the button. On click equals remove everything. So we are going to look at a function called remove everything in this as well. But we're not looking at it yet, but that's another JavaScript. And then we have a couple of things here. There was a couple of different ways that if I didn't want the remove button, I could either put style equals visibility colon hidden in double quotes, or well, that actually makes it not visible, and if you can't see the button, naturally you can't click on it and use it. But another thing that can be done if you want to see the button but not use it is you could use this word, disabled. Well, as it turns out, not only do I want to see the button, but I want to use it. So I just misspelled disabled and I misspelled style, so that if I want to use this in the future, I'll just take the Z's off and do whichever one of these that I want to use, or both. I don't know why I'd use both though, because if you can't see it, you don't need to worry about disabling it. And if you disable it, you can see it, but it won't function. So it's your choice. All right, so there's the end of that button. And here's another image. This time it has an ID set to right. It's the same source equals smile.ico. The alt is the same. Alt equals smiley, title equals smiley, height equals 22. All right, there's the end of the TH, which is the table header, the end of the table row. The next table row is in between these two tags, and we have a bunch of TH tags, which are table headers. So we have a TH pair for Sunday through Saturday. That's that next row. Our first week, this is just a comment, our first week in between the table row, we have a bunch of table data cells. In the first table data cell, we have the number 28 followed by a text area which has been disabled. So you have the opening text area tag, the closing text area tag, and the closing TD, which stands for the closing table data cell. We have another table data cell that says 29, text area disabled, and then the ending text area tag and the ending TD tag. And we keep doing this until we fulfill the entire row. The first 4 text table data cells have text areas that are disabled because the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st are December of 2017, and we don't care about those, so we disable them by putting the disabled keyword inside of the opening text area tag. Okay, so then we get to this table data cell. Now we're talking about the first, February 1st. Text area, now that we are going to use local storage and utilize a text area instead of just stick it there for space, we give it an ID. And it only makes sense to give it the ID of Feb 1 because it's representing February 1st. Next we have a placeholder equals, and then we have an empty string designated by this double quotes with nothing inside. And I'll show you what that placeholder does in a moment. Here's our closing text area tag and our closing TD tag. Now notice right now we have no placeholders having any values. We have the word placeholder, and we have equals, and we have an empty double quote. Now watch what happens when I fill in some placeholders. Go back in here. So let's say February 1st, in the placeholder I'm going to put rent. Placeholder equals rent. Let's say February 5th, placeholder equals electric. Let's say February 10th, placeholder equals cell phones. Okay, what else can we do? Let's say February 17th equals car note. And let's say February 25th equals car insurance. And then let's just stop there. I don't need to create everything, but I just want to show you the examples of placeholders. So we refresh the page. Voila. Now, the placeholders don't have a single thing to do with our local storage. This is just showing us, it's just giving us some information hard-coded in these text areas. It's like a reminder. Rent is due the 1st. Now the great thing about using these placeholders is that when you pay your rent, let's just say, you know, rent, you're typing over this, okay? Type right over it. Rent paid $620, okay? So when you pay it, then you click your save button. A couple seconds goes by. Rent paid $620. It's basically just reminding you of something that's going to occur on that day. And if you want to save information and you type on that day, when you save it, it saves right over the placeholder. So if you want to keep some of that placeholder information, you need to type it again. So you could say car note paid and whatever it is. Okay, and save it, and then it's saved. So that gives you an idea of what the placeholder does. Just gives you a little hint of what to remember. Now if we remove it, this will delete the entire grid. You really want to delete everything, click OK. All deleted, click OK. When you delete it, it only deletes your saved style of lime green and your saved value of whatever it is that you typed inside of there. It maintains your placeholder information. Okay, so with that being said, what else should I do? I guess let's start over with the febtemplate.html code all over again. Opening HTML tag, in the head, again we've got the link that points to the smile icon, the title that says February Template 2018, the link that points to the external style sheet called style.css, and the link that points to the external JavaScript called febtemplate.js. There's the end of the head, so let's close it. Our opening body tag, the onload event is set to load my stuff, which is a function that we'll look at in the febtemplate.js JavaScript file. We got the table. We got the table row, the table header with an ID set to month, and the call span set to 7. Got an image with an ID set to left, a source set to smile.ico, alt set to smiley, title set to smiley, and height set to 22. We have the text February Template 2018 that will show right here. So we've seen this image, and then here's that text February Template 2018, and then we're going to look at 2 buttons, and then we're going to look at an image again. Okay, so here's the button. The first button, input type equals button, ID equals save, button value equals save, on click equals save my stuff. So we click on that first button, it's going to call the save my stuff function. Second button, input type equals button, ID equals remove, button value equals remove, on click equals remove everything. And style equals visibility hidden or the keyword disabled. If you want to see this button right here, this remove button, but not use it, then you could just use this keyword disabled. And so therefore, let me show you what that would do. If I clicked over top of rent, paid $600, and then I save it. Okay, so now my save my stuff function executes, but I don't know if you could tell by the video, but this is kind of grayed out. And when I try to click it, it's the same as the text area is being disabled. You can't click it. It's there, but it's kind of grayed out and you can't use the functionality. So that's one way to keep the remove button element on your page, but just not use it. Now, if you want to Z that out so the disabled has nothing to do with it, and look at this, style equals visibility hidden. So as you can see, it's not disabled, it's just hidden. Now let's refresh the page. Now it just disappears. So the functionality is still there, but if you can't see it, I'm clicking here. I'm clicking away where it should be, but nothing's happening. You can't see it, you can't click it. So there's two ways of handling a button if you want to play around with your code, and maybe just enable it or maybe just make it visible using code. But at this point, I'm not going to make it invisible, and I'm not going to disable it. I want it to work for my video here to show you how this code works. So let me refresh that. Alright, so now we've got it all back. Now if I hit remove, it will remove what I typed here. See? Okay. Here's the last image. Image ID equals right, source equals smile.ico, alt equals smiley, title equals smiley, and height equals 22. For the first image, ID left forces this smiley to float on the left of the page, and then this image with ID equals right, we set the style to force this image to float over here. So that's no big deal. There's the end of the table header tag and the end of the table row. Alright, so then the next table row has a bunch of table headers with just the abbreviations of the week. So for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, end of the table row. So that's these right here. Alright. Then we're going to look at week 1. And there's the table row for week 1. Very simple. Table data cell followed by the number 28, a text area that's disabled, closing text area, closing table data cell. Same thing for the 29th, 30th, and the 31st. These are all disabled because they have nothing to do with February. These are all January days. So the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st are disabled. You cannot click in them, and they don't do anything other than just sit there taking up space on our calendar, which is what you want it to do because that's what a calendar would look like. Alright, so then the next table data cell, now we are referencing the 1st of February. So now our text area is going to get an ID because our local storage needs the ID to refer to it. So ID equals Feb1, and now we also have that placeholder set to rent and text area and table data cell. This table data cell refers to the 2nd. Text area has ID of Feb2. Placeholder equals an empty string, so we haven't put anything in there. Ending text area, ending TD. Last table data cell is referring to the 3rd. Text area has ID equals Feb3. Placeholder equals nothing. Text area and ending TD. So we've went, wait, which one did I do? Week 1. We've done this. Well, let's say I want to put something in the 3rd. Then I would go to the 3rd placeholder. This is the 3rd of Feb. Let's see how that looks. It's probably too much text for that little thing. This is the 3rd of Feb. All right. And there's the end of the table row. Here's for week 2. I'm just going to highlight the whole thing. If you want to stop the video, copy it, and resume, that'll be great. And this is for week 3. Stop the video, type, and resume. Here's week 4. Pause it and resume. And lastly, week 5. Pause it and resume. Basically, you see the pattern. It's pretty easy to understand. And once you get to the last day of February, we want to make sure we put enough table data cells so that our calendar is nice and uniform. So the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd, this is referring to March. We don't care about March, so we're going to disable those text areas. And then that's the end of the table row, the end of the table, the end of the body, the end of the HTML. So that's the complete top to bottom code for the February template. And I've named it febtemplate.html. So let's look at the JavaScript. All right, let's look at the refresh me first. I commented out the alert box. I use alert box. I use alert boxes a lot so that if my function isn't running the way I expect it to, I at least want to see if when you call the refresh me, if it'll at least pop up an alert box. If it won't pop up an alert box, then the problem isn't in my refresh me function, it's in something else. It's in something else. And so I don't really need that right now. So I can take that out. The refresh me function basically is just going to do what clicking this would do. The reload icon on your browser. But I want to be able to use that functionality in some of my code. So window.location.reload parentheses true. That's my refresh me. Let's look at next save my stuff. To colorize the buttons, we have these 2 statements. You start off with this function save my stuff. We will use document.getElementById parentheses and quotes save button dot style dot background color equals lime in quotes. And notice that save button is in double quotes and lime is in single quotes. Document.getElementById parentheses double quotes save button dot value equals the string in double quotes saved. Next we have var v1 equals document.getElementById parentheses and quotes feb1.value. That's one statement. And the next statement is localstorage.setItem, and in parentheses in quotes we have k1 comma v1. Now these 2 statements are very important, and you're going to repeat them. You're going to copy and paste them because this particular code is not optimized with JavaScript and for loops. We are creating them individually. So you take this double statement, you copy and paste it here, and then you change v1 to v2. You change feb1 to feb2. You change k1 to k2 and v1 to v2. And you do that over and over again until you handle. Let's go all the way to the bottom. Until you handle the last day of the month, which for our purposes, because it's February, we stop at v28. Now, I have v29, v30, and v31, but because we don't access it in this particular month, I commented them out. That way, when I go to subsequent months that will have maybe 29 days, if I have 29 days, I'll take this comment off of here and I'll put it down here so that we will have everything the length that it needs to be for our particular month, then I'll just comment out the excess. Now, if I take these comments out and just have excess variables here, what happens is I think the browser is looking for something that doesn't exist, and while it's busy looking for these three, this line of code right here at the end of the Save My Stuff, which is a set timeout, in parentheses, it's supposed to call the refresh me function after 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds. And if I refresh the page right now that I've taken those, I've added them back to the code instead of commenting them out, I will show you that if I try to save something, like just junk here, junk here, junk here, and junk here, what is supposed to happen when I hit the save button is supposed to momentarily turn green, and after 2 seconds it's supposed to go back to this, and then these things that I just saved are supposed to have a green background. But watch. Because I have those extra variables that the browser is looking for here for local storage in this save my stuff function, it's not getting to this. So it's never calling the refresh me. Well, I don't want that, because now it's forcing me to use the browser's refresh. Watch. When I hit this refresh, then save goes back to its original appearance, and then we get these saved with also saving the Lime style. So let me go back to how I had it before and comment out these extra variables so that when it gets to this one, which we actually have a text area, it will automatically go here to the set timeout and call the refresh me. So let's try it again. Let me add a few more things. Now let's hit save. A couple seconds goes by, and voila. Now everything has been saved. If I close out of the page and then run it again another day, everything is still saved, including the colors. And so I thought that was pretty fun to add that as an extra bonus. I love bonuses. Okay, so each time I learn a little something new in code that I didn't realize before, I just pop up a new video. So if it seems like a lot of these are similar, they are similar, but each one has like a different addition to the code. All right, so back to the code. So that was Save My Stuff from top to bottom. Let me close it up. And let's look at Load My Stuff. Load My Stuff is what's called when that page is first loaded, when you first open it in the browser. First of all, Save My Stuff, if you click this save button and you've typed anything in any of these text areas, the Save My Stuff function will run, and then it will create a local storage key value pair. And it's saved in the browser's local storage. Then when you leave this page and then you go back right before you launch it, right as you're launching it actually, as this page is loading, it's calling Load My Stuff, so that you bring back everything that you saved in local storage. So let's look at that Load My Stuff. This is what happens when the page first loads. We create a bunch of variables, and we use localstorage.getItem to pull anything that has been created as a local storage key value pair. It's going to pull it by pulling the key. So localstorage.getItem K1 in quotes and parentheses is pulling the key that we created in the key value pair, and then it's storing the value of that key value pair in this variable called stored v1. So then we have this condition if stored v1, which is asking if we have a value for it, which means we actually did save something in that particular spot, if we did save something, then we're going to execute these two statements. Document.getElement by ID, parentheses and parentheses and quotes feb1.value equals stored v1, and document.getElement by ID, parentheses, quotes feb1.setAttribute, and in parentheses we are going to set a class with the name of Lime. We're setting class Lime. We're going to copy and paste this over and over again for all 28. Actually, we're going to do one better. We're going to do this over and over again for 31, because each month that you may want to use can have up to 31 days. Now, unlike the Save My Stuff, where we had to have the exact number of variables and no more, we had to comment the extra variables out. Well, for whatever reason, the Load My Stuff, it's okay if you have more. It's okay that we have 31. It still works fine. So we copied and pasted that set of statements, just changing the variable name, changing the key name, and then in the if condition we change the ID. See, the very last one is this: var stored v31 equals localstorage.getItem k31. If stored v31, then document.getElement by ID, parentheses and quotes feb31.value equals stored v31, and document.getElement by ID, parentheses and quotes feb31.setAttribute, parentheses, class in double quotes, comma, Lime in double quotes. So anywhere in any of these text areas that we've saved something, it's going to get pulled back up when the body loads. Alrighty, so we looked over Load My Stuff, and as you can see, Load My Stuff, does not have a set timeout before the ending curly brace. We just have the ending curly brace after this last variable scenario. So let's close up Load My Stuff. And this is a lot of redundant code. It's not optimized, but it works. And I need to close Save My Stuff. We looked at that already. So we've looked at the functions Save My Stuff and Refresh Me and Load My Stuff. Let's look at Remove Everything and Remove My Stuff. And I want to think that, yeah, I was attempting to do a remove function that used a loop. So that I wouldn't have all that duplicate code. Oh, let's see, remove everything. Oh, actually I do. I have a code. I have a function that calls a function. Let's go back to that button. The remove button calls remove everything. So let's look at remove everything first. Function remove everything is a short function. First we create a variable called x. Then we have an if condition. And in the if condition, it's everything in this parentheses, we have a confirm prompt that pops up, which says this will delete the entire grid. Then we have a \n so that we can go down another line and ask, do you really want to delete everything? Now, if that confirm prompt is equal to true, then that means that the user clicked the, let's try it again. We hit remove. That means that they clicked the OK button. Okay? So if they clicked the OK button, then these two lines are going to execute. So if the confirm button pops up and the user clicks the OK button, we're going to do what's in this and it's x equals all deleted, the string all deleted, and then we call the secondary function remove my stuff at that point. Now, if the user, go back to this, clicks the cancel on this confirm, we have to have another set of instructions to obey the fact that the user changed their mind. So that's where the else comes in. And in that case, x will be set to the string, okay, nothing is deleted, and we do not call remove my stuff. Okay, so after this, if this will happen, if they click OK, if they click cancel, then else, this will happen. After this whole thing right here executes, depending on what the user chooses, we will have the alert pop-up provide the message, the value of x. So x will either say all deleted, or it will say, okay, nothing is deleted. And this is when the user will actually see that. And so there's the end of the function remove everything. So that was pretty simple. So let's close that up. Now remember, when we click this button, this remove button, we call remove everything. That gives us the opportunity to make sure the user really wants to do it or not. And if they do, then it calls remove my stuff here. So now let's look at the remove my stuff function. Let's look at the code for remove my stuff. All right, this is kind of short. And function remove my stuff. First, we're going to colorize the buttons. So we have document.getElementById, parentheses and quotes, remove button.style.background color equals lime. And then document.getElementById, parentheses and quotes, remove button.value equals removed with an exclamation. And so when we click remove, we give the user the option to choose. And if they click OK, the first thing that happens is this, we colorized buttons. Actually, it's colorizing a button. It's only colorizing the remove button. And these two things you can see. It's got a background of lime and the word changed to removed. See, right there. Now, the next thing that happens is we're going to loop stuff. So we create this variable called k, and then we, because we are going to have k1, k2, k3, k4 all the way to our last key in the key value pair. So we're using k, and when we get down here in the loop, we're taking literally k and we're concatenating the value of I. But let's read from top to bottom. Var k, and then the for loop is var I equals 1, I less than 32, I plus plus. So we're going to do that many times. We're going to do it that many times, starting with 1, do this, then go back up and it's 2, do it again and it's 3, as long as I is less than 32. Once I becomes 32, then it's going to jump out of this loop and it's going to be done. So we have k set to the value of k1. All right. Then we have local storage.remove item k. Well, here k has been changed to have the value k1. So local storage.remove item parentheses k1 is the first thing that happens in that first iteration. Then it goes up here and changes the value of k to k2. So then it goes local storage.remove item k2 all the way to every single key, all the way to k31. All right. After it loops and removes everything, it removes everything that we did save, like it just did. Then we have this set timeout, which after 2 seconds calls those refresh me. And so only remove my stuff is only called when that confirm comes up and the user, again, remove. The user clicks OK. This is the only time that remove my stuff is called. So then it's going to loop over every single one of these, and then it's going to, let's see, it's also going to refresh the page with the refresh me function so that this removed goes from removed to remove and the green background to the initial gray that quickly. That's the importance of the refresh me function. So again, if I didn't have this set timeout, let's comment it out and run this. Let's put some stuff in here, just anywhere. Let's save it. Okay, so we saved all that junk. Now we're going to remove it. Okay, we're going to remove it. All deleted. Hit OK. And there we are, stuck again. We're stuck here, and I don't want it to be stuck here. I don't want to have to hit the reload of the browser. So that's why this set timeout's important for me. It automatically refreshes the page by the functionality of the code. So saved, right? Now let's remove it. Okay, all deleted, and it automatically does that. It automatically refreshes it for me. Okay, so there's the end of remove my stuff. So what did I forget? We went over the refresh me first. Then the next step was the save my stuff. After the save my stuff, we wanted to know how load my stuff worked. I went through all that. Wanted to understand remove everything, because this is what happens when we click the remove button. And based on the user's choice in a confirm dialog, if they choose they do want to they click OK, they will remove the stuff. If they click cancel, then nothing is deleted. And finally, the remove my stuff uses a loop. We colorize the button when you first hit the remove button, and then we use a loop to remove everything. We use a set timeout to refresh it, and that's everything, right? Right. Alright, I can't remember if I looked at the CSS or not. Alright, there's a style for the table. There's a style for the table header. Here's the style for the text area. Here's the style for the image with an ID of left. Here's the style for the image with an ID of right. Here's the style for the ID of month. All of these right here, I was creating tags, but I didn't actually use them. But if you want to try it in your code, you can try it. But what you do is this R in your code. Let's see if I can do something to show you real quick what that might be. All right, let's do this. I have a table header that says Sunday. Well, it says sun right here. Let me change it to one of those tags that I created in the style. Let's change it to, I don't know how red is going to look, but let's use the R. So after this TH, I create that not capital R tag, opening R on one side of sun, and then closing R on the other side of sun. And let's see if that didn't change sun to a red color. See, it's really ugly. That doesn't look good at all over blue. But basically that's what those styles can do. It's inventing your own tags and giving it a style. but I didn't use it, but it's there if you want to try it. And then I did use .lime, which is style lime, so that local storage can save a background color of a text area as well as whatever I type in it. And then finally I gave my my pound save button and my pound remove button, which stand for ID save button and ID remove button, a width of 100 pixels, because when the save button doesn't have 100 pixels saved, it's a shorter button, and when we click it and it goes from the word save to saved, the size of the button gets longer or wider, and then when it reverts back to the original size, then it gets smaller again, and that looks stupid. So to show you how stupid it looks, I'll misspell the width of the style and refresh this, and you see the save is shorter now. The save button only stretches as far as it has to based on the text that's in it. So let's click save. Now you see how it got bigger momentarily while the code changed it to saved in green. Yeah, that's weird. That's just weird. So by setting it to a nice width in the first place, then the only thing that happens really that's noticeable is the background color and the words changing instead of the size too. Because when the size of this changes, then all this junk moves and it just looks retarded. Alrighty. So I went over the three files, the style.css, the febtemplate.js, and the febtemplate.html. So knock yourself out, have fun, make changes, and turn this into anything you want.